possible engage tools for Nova Esports.
Yeah, it's gonna be a drive-through later on by long to Weibo Gaming. Jax is a great response, of course, to the auto-attack based champions here of Nova Esports. Yes, there is at least the AoE damage of the Hecarim. And again, the Jax is gonna be serving really well into the team fights that Nova Esports is going to be handling Weibo Gaming. There's lots of crowd control as well with these 3 picks of Weibo Gaming, and should be pressuring Nova Esports to invest now on some disengaged champions.
Ooh, I was expecting Lucian and Ezreal to be banned away by Nova Esports, but considering that they're still lacking when it comes to that big damage champions, Saya is not a bad ban, right? You still have Zeri available if ever Nova wants to double down on the possibility for that late game scaling potential, but Ezreal is a much better pick here because the thing is, you really want that safety net for Sivir for the first half of the game before she comes up when it comes to the power spike. And Corki, we've seen it being used by Weibo Gaming, and this is actually really good, nevertheless.
And now Nova Esports will be just investing on late game as well with the Kassadin. And if Weibo Gaming is going to pick up something like a Zoe, or rather Orianna, into the mid lane for team fighting here, Kassadin can still withstand the pressure. And since they would have double AP if ever they pick a different mid laner champion here, it would be more deadly. I like this response with the Yone instead. It shows great investment for early game and late game as well.
Wait, so Yone, it's Yone being brought onto the mid lane, Corki brought into the bottom lane? Oh wait, no. Oh, right. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. But we have seen this a while ago, right? The thing about Sivir and Nautilus is you want that safety onto the Sivir. You also want that damage through. And we've seen this being played out by Naos just a while back in Series number 1. And it speaks volume. You have a really, really strong jungler already brought into Long with Hecarim. So, expecting a lot of things for that Sivir later on for, I believe, remake for the side of Nova.
Let's see if the Boost Up squad is going to be able to defeat this Weibo Gaming squad here with a heavy investment in the late game, to be honest. The Jax, the Aatrox, the Yone, the Corki, 4 scaling champions. And we have seen that a while ago being executed really well by one of our teams in our first series. KT Roser Y against Naos Esports demonstrated the potential, and just execution is the best way to be able to fully utilize this kind of composition, especially with the power spikes at level 5. They have that as well with the Fate Shield, with the World Ender, with the Cask as well. If they can isolate Nova Esports and prevent the engage of Long, then they have a standing chance.
Yeah, they definitely do. We'll see. Nova Esports, not the favorites coming into this series as far, but if Weibo Gaming brings them down, it's a statement to make coming into the CN conference. And thus far, the past 2 series that we've had throughout the day have been total upsets, and I'm not denying that possibility for it to happen again.
I mean, Weibo Gaming is going to be doing their best. This is one step in order to do it as well. They have to withstand and also prevent Long from being able to carry out in this game. Yen wants to carry too, especially with this Kassadin. And they do have many ways to set up for fights. Camille with the Hexic Ultimatum, the depth charge as well by Yami later on. Single target lockdowns effective to take down an Aatrox later on.
Yeah, definitely is, right? And I think at this point, I definitely do look at the draft for Nova to be a little bit more towards the Protect the King situation. And even for the side of Weibo, right? Because the thing about their draft, having a heavy reliance onto Yone and also Corki. For the side of Nova, it's a heavy reliance onto Remake and also Long. So pretty much they wanted that safety net for Duanyo and Remake. And both of these ADC, both of these marksmen have their own self-heal. Right? You have the spell shield for Remake and also the Valkyrie for Duanyo in the package.
It's going to be very useful for team fights later on as well. We have seen great zoning controls, especially with the package. Duanyo is no stranger to this as well. Great rotation actually to secure the Scuttle Crab, deny it from Long as well. So now, Fan can just go towards the topside Scuttle and secure both of them for the team.
Oh my. Zihan just walking under the turret, having to try and steal the honey fruit. that was just... Can't do that, man. Can't do that.
Yeah. And that shows confidence of Zihan, knowing that Fan is gonna be there in case he is going to be in trouble. They've also secured a great control so far here in this game. Nova Esports are down 800, 600 gold at the start of this.
But at this point, it doesn't really matter, right? When it comes to these early games, the laning phase could just tip the scales to one side or the other. The difference maker is if these early games comes down to a 1.5k gold lead, 2k gold lead, that's the time when you have to be really scared. But these minute difference are just those laning phase. Because the thing is, these early game matches, right, could be having the lane frozen to one lane or the other, could have the wave pushing at one side. So right now, Nova has like 100 gold lead. At this point, it's not something that we have to be worried about, but something we have to take note of is these teams are already at level 5. So these big engages could now occur, especially Hecarim having to unlock the ultimate already, having very, very quick mobile and mobility to jump into those fights, and you also have the depth charge along with the ultimate of the Sivir to help out.
That's the advantage here of Nova Esports. They can lock down one champion and burst it out. Pain needs to be very careful, of course, every single time. We have seen some Yone picks not having the best of time, especially because of those engages from these champions as well. If it gets pinned down, you will not be able to escape. That's one of the disadvantages of a Yone, especially when the Soul Unbound is no longer available or wasn't used to close in the distance, or it gets trapped as well. Now they turn onto the Gragas. The one here is going to be here, but Long is just waiting by the corner, waiting for the wave to crash. The one here is going to be fine. Long will not pursue this time around. They are just going to focus on the play.
Yeah, it's very interesting that Long just waited onto the start push and he just did not attempt for that kill, because that could have been free. It was Gragas who was already out of the tower range, so that could have been the opportunity. But the thing is, I think it's more of an option for Long to wait for the Infernal Rig, to wait for the Rift Herald before he utilizes his ultimate, before he jumps into those fights.
Yeah, it's great timing for sure later on. Nova Esports did get a bit of pressure done towards Weibo Gaming. They can set up vision onto the bot side river already. Actually, they have started investing on it already. Neon just gonna be baiting Faye in. Soul Unbound gonna be used. Fate Seal denied, and he's forced to use the flash, but Onslaught Shadow will be chasing him down. Fortunately enough, he was able to flash away. Does get away as well.
There's a lot of damage coming in from the turret as well. They have to retreat, they have to fall back. But it's a good burn, right? The Fate Seal already burned coming into the Infernal Rig, and Rift Herald will be crucial for the side of Nova.
And since we did see that Fan already started the RH, the rest of Weibo Gaming can just delay the taking here of Nova Esports. Package gonna be used, at least for some space here. The one is still free hitting. RH has been secured already. We're still this 3,500 on this Infernal Dragon. Yami gonna be going in, Remake following up with the Boomerang. As they spawn up the RH in the mid lane, they should get this turret as a trade as well.
Yeah, they will get it for sure. There's no one to defend it. They will get the tier 1 turrets. A lot of gold injection for the side of Weibo Gaming. So they're double downing onto the possibility of a snowball up against WBG and Nova. At this point, similar to what we have mentioned a while ago, it's a huge dependency on Remake and a huge dependency on Long to engage on those fights along with Yami. Oh, forcing out the flash as well.
Yeah. Long was actually quite far from Yami, so that's an odd move by Fan to use the flash just to disengage.
That's what he is. And at this point, it's more on just a delay game for both sides. Yes, there is an opportunity for any single one of these teams to be able to go all in, but we're talking about Kazan, we're talking about Yone, we're talking about pretty much every single champion in this game to either have a lot of sustainability, a lot of defensive capability, or just outright mobility. right? Sivir has Spell Shield as well. Corki has the Valkyrie, as we mentioned a while ago. So when it comes to these fights, they could go back to safety.
This time, Weibo Gaming actually investing a couple of their members to maybe try and gank here in the bottom lane. At least interfere with the farming here of Long. They are a bit successful onto it, able to steal a couple of those mini monsters. As now we do see Zihan engaging onto Neon. They're trying to be used here onto the Gragas, but unable to get the setup done here for Nova Esports. They turn onto Remake. It's gonna be in a lot of trouble. Nova Esports still committing onto this. But they do cancel out the engage. No one died.
Yeah, especially with being one of the squishiest champions right now with Sivir. That's something that Nova Esports has to constantly avoid. Right, those big engages by Weibo Gaming coming into the backside, because Remake will be left open, and when that happens, when Remake dies, Nova loses pretty much a huge chunk of their damage.
I mean, Nova Esports, I think this is not yet the time for them to actually engage. They're waiting for the power spike. They're waiting for a proper timing here to engage onto Weibo Gaming. They're opting to just scale, especially that the Kassadin of Neon is not yet online. It will take a lot of time though for them to be able to finally contest Weibo Gaming. That's why we don't see any tower takedowns just yet. It's just Weibo Gaming taking full control of this map. And well, the good thing about this is that they do have lots of potential for late game. Yami is just gonna be fine taking the damage for the team whenever Weibo Gaming engages. He hasn't died just yet here in this game, which is good despite all the engages here of Weibo Gaming as well. Weibo Gaming, they're happy with the scaling part as well. I mean, both of these squads has invested multiple champions for late game.
Yeah, indeed, definitely is. So right now it's all about the dependency, as well as even Neon for the side of Nova, right? Has to scale quite a bit, has to wait for level 13 to be able to be actually be exceptional in the Rift. Now Zihan being targeted.
Forced to flash out. Yami unfortunately did not land the dredge line onto the terrain. Faye as well, split pushing in the bottom lane, will be answered out by Yitze. This is great macro coming in from Weibo Gaming, especially that the Yone and the Jax are winning 1v1s.
Yeah, it definitely is, right? It's just a more of a patience game is the name of the game for this game number 1. Right, every single one of these players, every single one of these champions has to scale. Untraditional and unlike from what we have seen in the prior series, wherein we had Lee Sins here and there. We had very strong early games. That vision though.
Yeah, and Zion is just taunting them. No! Yami, they don't know. Okay, finally they show up and Zion is just gonna be, alright, got you. I got you. I got you wasting your time there in that brush. Thinking that I might not know. Whoa, man, that damage though.
Yeah, that was really strong. And has to go in for the resets, is going to give it away. But the thing is, a 2v1 is never the advantage for them. And Nova, when they went in for the 2-man gank on top side, they're now at a massive disadvantage onto the Ocean Drake.
Yeah, they will be getting the tower, but at what cost? Weibo Gaming is just going to be securing this for free. Unless Long is going to be able to do something about this. They do have remakes ult, they're not going to contest.
I doubt it, right? Numbers game is crucial. And from what we have mentioned a while ago, right? Every single one of these champions are late game scaling for both sides. So the thing is, if they went in for that engage, having to understood that they're at a numbers disadvantage, and considering that their champions are also late game scaling, they're not gonna win that. And there's just too much risk through contesting that, so it's not an option.
They will just focus on clearing out the waves, balancing the push, answering back to Weibo Gaming's pressure towards Nova Esports. Gold lead isn't really ballooning at all, so that's okay for Nova Esports. And again, they're just waiting for the Kassadin, because even if the Jax later on of Zihan will be quite scary on split push, Kassadin can still win, especially on the majority of the fights. Like the burst of the Kassadin in late game is really high. And 2 items already picked up, including the crown. That's so much scaling item on his side.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, Kassadin went in for the Seraphim's Embrace and also the crown, so at this point you still don't have damage. Expectedly you could go in with the Lich Bane later on, or something else for the Kassadin coming into the mid lane. But at this point, he's just a silencer and pretty much a tank for the team that, once again, Nova has to buy time for.
Though we did see his damage a while ago onto Xian. Actually hurt a bit, but not enough at least to cause Weibo Gaming to hesitate doing this kind of split push. And yeah, they're enjoying this moment so far.
You just need to buy time for that level 13. Because at this point, Neon's still at level 11.
Unfortunately, the crown saved the day there for Neon. And now Long is going to be invading here. Onto Fanstel is able to pick it up for Weibo Gaming. And unsuccessful invade means that Long is just going to go back to farm.
Yeah. This is what Nova has been doing characteristically. Even back in the games 2 weeks ago, wherein they were able to reverse sweep another team coming into their respective match, wherein Long brought out the Nilla, and Long has been farming all throughout the game, and there was no fights, there was no ganks, there was no engage. It was Long who was fighting up until level 2.
For 12 minutes, 13 minutes, we haven't seen a first blood, but it's about to happen. Jikan still able to escape. No! I cursed it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're able to just go back away. This is synonymous to Nova's playstyle 2 weeks ago, and it has brought them a lot of success. It has showed them a lot of benefit, and don't fix what's not broken. Long just has to farm, but here we go.
Jikan again getting caught. Still able to body slam away. Weibo Gaming will just reset. You know what? Infinity, I'm just gonna be surprised if, or I'm just gonna be out of my mind if ever Neon picks up something like a Rod of Ages at this point. This late,
definitely not. I think it's a little bit too late to go in for the Rod of Ages in what, 13 minutes into the match?
Yeah.
Like, Rod of Ages needs what, a couple of minutes, 5 minutes at least to be able to reach that point, and 18 minutes, it's probably already GG. The game's probably ended.
And the longest game we have seen so far is like 27 minutes and 52 seconds. I mean, I hope they don't try to beat that. That would be too long.
Probably not.
But it is going there.
Yeah, I mean, Law's already a level 13, right? So, expectedly, they're not going to reach that point. We're going to reach like 30 minutes into the game, 27 minutes into the game. Definitely not. They're just gonna wait for level 13.
Yeah, save that for the PC one. Jikan gonna get engaged once more. Fate Sealed onto the front line, unable to still secure any kills in this game. Man, this game has been filled with objectives, with some banters between these two teams. No takedowns just yet.
And there's also a reason behind why the Gragas is able to go in for those engages consistently without having to look an eye back into his teammates. Just because he has the Warmog's armor, which is traditional to what we have observed. Typically right now, for the supports, the Orns, the Gragas, typically buys Warmog's armor first item for more uptime. Because supports are pretty much a dependency when it comes to crowd control in the current meta.
Is Long gonna attempt to steal this time around. Weibo Gaming
probably not
putting the pressure down, and they will take benefit of the hesitation of Nova Esports. 2 dragons compared to 1 for Nova.
I'm telling you, it's a level 15 game. Nova will buy time at the level 15 for Long. Xian's the target.
Is this it? The first kill of the game. Stasis is gonna be used. Fan is gonna be here as well, following up. Xian actually pushing their way, actually committing onto Yitze, and will almost take him down. The first blood goes through for Weibo Game after 15 minutes and 30 seconds. But this time around, everyone is just going to be committing on here as well. FaZe is going to be here too. Also the challenge, onto 3. FaZe Sealed not connecting onto anyone. 3 is still able to flash away. And Weibo Gaming is going to be disengaging for now, as Nova Esports got the advantage in that fight.
It's a good trade. Good trade overall. It was a 1-for-1 basically. So an even level playing field. I'm telling you, this is not gonna be an all-in engage until level 15. And yes, there was just an opportunity for Neon and Yitze to jump into that fight. You have the silence. You also have the Hextech ultimatum that could lock in onto these champions as one of the expectations already. But it's just a little bit of that bruise. You know what? They wanted those fights. They want a little bit more of that engage. Neon was able to retreat onto that fight. Fan was pinned out. The explosive cast was good overall, but these champions are tanky. These champions are really strong when it comes to the defensive capabilities of these champions. So this is one of the expectations.
Neon this time around is starting to have some fun with this. Casa win. Weibo Gaming still able to withstand at least. I think this Ocean Dragon and Mountain Dragon is helping them so much in durability and sustain as well. And Nova Esports also recognize that.
And the thing about Nova is that they're now playing characteristic to back in the olden days of Omega, right? Omega has been one of the teams that started it to be very methodical back in year number 1 of Wild Rift Esports. And right now, it is Nova who is applying or having the same strategy wherein they're playing very methodically. They're playing towards that late game. They're playing towards that level 15 of their jungler, because the thing is, Nova has a huge dependency on long, and once again, that will be emphasized here today.
This is very reminiscent of J-Team's playstyle as well last season. It's playing things slow, playing towards the late game. Some games has been commented as slow and quote-unquote boring. But that's how J-Team wins. They're able to just clutch out their games back in Season 1. Fortunately, they weren't able to clutch it out towards the end of the tournament. This time, Nova Esports is making it happen as well, especially with this massive scaling composition. Weibo Gaming is also happy to just invest on it. But now, since we have seen the trend of Weibo Gaming getting the Dragons and Nova Esports not trying or attempting a steal, now they have to do it.
Yeah, and the thing is, Long is already at level 14. Yitse goes in for the engage.
The ultimate gonna be denied, at least for a little while, but still Zihan will fall down. And Nova Esports has the numbers advantage.
And this is what we're talking about when it comes to that point. When Lost level 15, that will be the time for Nova to come and rise to go for those team fights.
Nian as well waiting on the sideline. Faye checking the area, checking the pit. G-Chan is feeling a little bit of a pressure here. Weibo Gaming, they want to commit, they want to contest, but they're being prevented for doing that. Fan still gonna be popping the World Ender. Now they have a ticking time bomb. They have to fully commit here onto Nova Esports. They're being prevented to do so. The package is gonna be used. Stays to buy some time. The also Shadow is gonna be on the back line. Fan is gonna be dead as well. The Elder Dragon is gonna be on the table here for Nova Esports as Remix is getting chased. Tap at the one is getting chased as well. And Nova Esports getting the clean up as they do take the Elder Dragon too.
And they pretty much just landslides from here on out. That is the tradition of Nova. They have done this in the past and they're doing it once again.
So clean for Nova Esports. And they're cleaning up the towers now. This is the start for Nova Esports to fully take control. They have been patient in the early game and now they're having their fun. Zihan getting trapped with a Hexic Ultimatum. The CC chain will be there. The Dragon's Breath with the Elder will just breathe the fire onto Weibo Gaming. And Nova Esports will get game number 1.
Yeah, amazing stuff coming from Nova Esports. Don't fix what's not broken. Wait for level 15 onto the jungler. And I'm telling you, that is also one of the expectations that we could